All right, quick update on Bitcoin dominance. We can now project this thing to drop by about 23% to 33%. Of course, either of these will be humongous for altcoins, and I have them in zones actually. So 47 to 46% right here in this box, and 42 to 39% for Bitcoin dominance. What's important to note, however, is that altcoins will not all top out at the same time. We saw the same thing in the last cycle, and we've been seeing it in this current cycle. You would have noticed things like Solana doing crazy, and every other altcoin is just watching it go up. Even things like Sui did well, and others like Say and Aptos just watched it go up, regardless of the fact that they are literally in the same category. Say is starting to move to the upside though, but Aptos is at life support right here. So this is pretty much what we will be expecting for Bitcoin dominance in the coming months. All right, this person is saying you don't have a name that I would have mentioned your name. We should probably aim to have a big chunk of our profits taken before 47%. Not exactly, my friend. As I mentioned in that video, all altcoins will top and bottom at different times. So if you are trying to sell the top, or say close to the top, because selling the top is very difficult, then what you need to do is monitor every altcoin versus its Bitcoin pair. As I've always mentioned, this Bitcoin chart measures every altcoin against Bitcoin. So when we are looking at this chart and we're thinking that 47 to 46% could be a potential bottoming out zone for Bitcoin dominance, that does not mean that every altcoin tops out at this zone. As we start to descend to the downside, what you will need to do, which is what we will be covering as time goes on, is we will be looking at each altcoin against its Bitcoin pair. That means that if something like Cardano is at $5 and this thing is coming to the downside, we will go to look at ADA BTC. If that is looking like it's at its top, we will have to sell it regardless of where this will be. I stress on this because some people will see my video of Bitcoin dominance bottoming out at 47% to 46% or perhaps 42% to 39% right here and think, oh, ADA is at $5, I will wait for this. No. The capital will rotate. So you will go from Bitcoin, which is why we've been seeing Bitcoin going up right now, and we'll go to Ethereum, and we'll go to infrastructures, other things like Solana, Polkadot, Cardano, and the rest. And then we'll go to things like layer 2 scaling solutions, oracles, DeFi projects, and stuff like that. From there, we go to the small caps and perhaps meme coins. What the whales will do is they move their money from Bitcoin to Ethereum to Solana to Cardano to Polkadot and the rest. And when they move their money, they wait, the price goes up, retail comes in, flows the capital, puts capital into those infrastructure projects, and then the whales sell to those retails and move to the next category. It's literally always like that, even in small rallies. If you are quite an observer, then you would have noticed this. Sometimes you'd see storage projects going up. You'd see things like Theta going up. You'd see things like Filecoin going up at the same time. And after that, you'd see things like Aave, Uniswap, CRV going up around the same time. They rotate the capital, which is why when this thing starts to drop, we need to focus on alt to BTC pair. So it's not like we will all sell when this thing comes here. No, don't do that. You will have to wait till 2029. Don't do that. Focus on the alt to BTC pair. If you hold any altcoin, focus on its BTC pair when this thing starts to drop. As for now, it hasn't started yet. The altcoin season has not started yet. As you can see, this thing is still at support right here, but we are just talking about when this thing starts to drop. Good question. This tells me that you understand exactly what I was saying in that video. So what analysis should we do on altcoins to their BTC pairs to know if they've topped or when they will top? We will take a simple example right here with Solana. And mind you, this can only be done with coins that were here in the previous cycle. So coins that were launched in this cycle, this may not be possible for them. We would have to use some other strategy for that. So this is Sol USDT. And what we are doing here is we just take the Fibonacci retracement right there. And we take from the previous bull market top to the bear market low right here, so this low, and then we are looking at the levels that go to the upside. Now what we will expect from this is that Sol comes to at least the 1.618 and the 2.618. This puts Sol at $414 as we see here for the 1.618 and $665 for the 2.618. Note that slightly above the 2.618 we have the 3 fib level, so somewhere between $665 and $761. So what's the final target here? Is this really all Sol will do or can do? Well, to get that final target, we just need to look up for the 4.618 to 4.764. That actually puts Sol at approximately $1,000. So we're having 1,167 right here to $1,204. Now, this is the highest we can see with this strategy. It is not to say that Sol must come here, and it's also not to say that Sol can't go higher than this. It only means that if Sol ever gets here, you should consider selling it all. Now, I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just a messenger here. I'm just telling you what this actually means, what Fibonacci is trying to say with this stuff. Also note that these levels are not guaranteed. These are just the levels that the chart is showing us, yeah? So now let's go to Sol BTC. So SOL BTC. So this will be Solana paired with BTC, not USDT. Click there and the chart is showing us some interesting stuffs right here. So you see that as Sol was consolidating, this consolidation right here, it's not really dropping, yeah? So it's really not dropping. It's just consolidating, but not doing anything. It's not being exciting or anything like that. But as it is doing this, it's actually dropping on its BTC pair, which means that whales are actually buying Sol to keep the price up. As it continues to consolidate on its USDT pair, you may never know when to buy or when it will eventually go to the upside. So it's important to look at the Sol BTC chart. Whenever we can identify a bottom right here, that will be the bottom on its USDT pair. According to the chart, if we use the same strategy we just used on Sol USDT, Sol will most likely again eventually come to 1.618 right here and potentially 2.618 right here. Now with Sol BTC or ETH BTC or whatever BTC, any coin BTC, I tend to be a lot more conservative. The reason being that it does not go up at the same rate. So what do I mean by that? So let's just measure this from here, from this bottom right here to this top right here. You will see 528%. Yes? So let's look at Sol USDT. As we come here to Sol USDT, so Sol USDT right there, and we measure from the bottom right here to the top. Now, note that I'm not being super specific about the bottom and top, but I'm just trying to make the video short. But you see about 3,514% move to the upside. So it's actually 3,000% more on Sol USDT than on Sol BTC. This is why I tend to be a lot more conservative with my altcoin to BTC pair. A little move to the upside here is just wild for its USDT counterpart. So for now, I will be expecting Sol to bottom in this region right here between this 0.236 to 1.618 right here. A simpler way to get the equivalent of this 1.618, because if I want to show you how I get that, it will take more than 20 minutes to explain. So we just take the same Fibonacci. Let's just cancel all of this and do it afresh. So we take Fibonacci from this bottom right here to the top right here. That gives us 0.786 right here. So bottom to top to get the retracement levels to the downside, and top to bottom to get the extensions to the upside. So that's simply what you're going to do, my friend. Here we get the accumulation zone. So between this 0.618 to this 0.786, from bottom to top, and to the upside we get these levels from top to bottom. The first one being the 0.786, the second one being the 1.618, and 2.618 being the last. It could go higher than that, but these would be the conservative levels. Hopefully you understand. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. But until the next one, stay safe.